Tucked away in the heart of Wiltshire, amidst rolling green hills and patchwork fields, lies a farm that seems to have stepped out of a storybook. Its ancient stone buildings, weathered by centuries of sun and rain, stand as silent witnesses to a history that runs as deep as the roots of its oldest oaks. This is a place where time doesn't just pass. It lingers, whispering tales of generations who have worked this land, their lives intertwined with the rhythm of the seasons. It feels peaceful, eternal, a world away from the rush of modern life. But this tranquil landscape holds a dramatic secret, a story of crisis, courage, and a single farmer who held the fate of a nation in his hands. The year is 1744. A shadow falls over England. Not the shadow of war or political strife, but something far more insidious. A great famine grips the land, born from a devastating blight that sweeps through the nation's wheat fields. Imagine the scene, vibrant fields of gold turning to black, rotting stalks overnight. The air, once sweet with the smell of harvest, now carries the stench of decay. This wasn't just a bad harvest, it was a catastrophe. Wheat, the very staff of life for millions, was gone. Panic spread faster than the blight itself. Granaries that should have been overflowing were empty. The price of bread skyrocketed, becoming a luxury few could afford. In the cities, bakeries closed their doors, their ovens cold. In the countryside, families who had farmed for generations stared at their ruined fields in despair. Hunger, a grim and silent specter, stalked the streets of London and crept into the humble cottages of the Shiraz. The government was powerless. Ships sent to the continent for grain returned with grim news the blight was not confined to England's shores. It seemed the entire nation was teetering on the brink of collapse, with starvation a very real and terrifying possibility. The vibrant, powerful heart of the British Empire was growing faint, its people consumed by a desperate, gnawing hunger. But here, in our quiet corner of Wiltshire, one farm remained untouched. One man, Farmer John, walked his fields not with despair, but with a cautious hope. While the world around him crumbled, his crops stood tall and golden, swaying gently in the breeze, immune to the rot that had consumed everything else. John was a man of the earth, his hands calloused from a lifetime of labor, his eyes holding the wisdom of his ancestors. He wasn't a scholar or a nobleman, he was a farmer, plain and simple. Yet he held a secret that was more valuable than all the gold in the Tower of London. For generations, John's family had cultivated a special kind of grain. It wasn't the common wheat grown across the country. This was an ancient strain, a relic from a time long past, with a resilience bred into it over centuries. The secret of this grain, how to nurture it, when to plant it, and how to protect its precious purity was a legacy passed down from father to son, a sacred trust whispered on deathbeds and taught in the furrows of the fields. His neighbors had once scoffed at his strange-looking wheat, calling him old-fashioned for not adopting the newer, higher-yielding varieties. But John, honoring the promise he made to his father, had persisted. He knew this grain was special, he just never imagined how special it would truly be. As the famine tightened its grip, John wasn't just a farmer anymore. He was the guardian of England's last hope. News travels slowly in the 18th century, but a story as remarkable as a single, healthy harvest in a sea of blight could not be contained. At first, it was just a rumor, a desperate whisper passed between starving villagers. A farm in Wiltshire, they said, had wheat, healthy, golden wheat. Officials, initially skeptical, soon arrived on horseback, their faces etched with a mixture of disbelief and frantic hope. When they saw Farmer John's fields, they fell to their knees. It was a miracle. John, a man of humble character, didn't hoard his miraculous harvest. He understood its significance went far beyond his own family's survival. This wasn't just food, it was the future. Working with the Royal Society and government agriculturalists, a plan was forged. Every single grain from John's harvest was treated as a national treasure. A portion was carefully milled to provide immediate, life-saving flour for the hardest-hit communities, a symbol of hope on empty tables. But the majority, the most precious part, was designated as seed. Under armed guard, the grain was transported across the country. Farmers who had lost everything were given these precious seeds, along with strict instructions on how to cultivate the ancient strain. The following spring, a nervous nation held its breath as the first green shoots of the resilient grain pushed through the soil in fields from Kent to Cumbria. A collective sigh of relief swept across England. The harvest that year wasn't just bountiful, it was a resurrection. Farmer John's small, unassuming farm hadn't just fed a few hundred people. It had provided the genetic key to replant an entire nation. He had saved England. Today, nearly 3 centuries later, Farmer John's farm still stands. It is no longer a private holding, but a cherished National Trust property, its gates open for all to see. Visitors walk the same paths John once did, tracing the lines of the ancient stone walls and gazing out over the same rolling hills. The fields are still planted, not with the ancient strain, which is now carefully preserved in a national seed bank, but with crops that honor the farmers' sustainable heritage. Children laugh and run where a nation's fate once hung in the balance. Families picnic under the shade of ancient oaks, perhaps unaware of the incredible drama that unfolded right where they sit. But the spirit of the place remains. It's in the resilience of the old stone barns, in the enduring beauty of the landscape. The farm has become a living monument, not to a king or a battle, but to the quiet courage of a single farmer and the enduring power of heritage. It's a heartwarming reminder that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in progress and novelty, but in preserving the wisdom of the past. It teaches us that even in our darkest hour, hope can be found in the smallest of seeds, waiting for its season to save us all. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to explore more hidden histories with us. See you next time.